Afternoon.
Warner said you're still preparing for Kyler Murray to be the quarterback on Sunday.
Yes, for sure. We are still preparing for Kyler to be the quarterback until we hear anything else different. I know his guy's been a competitor all his career throughout college and in the NFL, so fully expecting him to play.
Is there an advantage or disadvantage when you just played them just a few weeks ago? Would you rather have more time, kind of get more film, or is it kind of an advantage to have them so close?
I don't think it's an advantage or disadvantage one way or another. It's an opponent that we know, pretty well. We play against them twice a year, every year, so pretty familiar with what they do schematically. So it's not an advantage one way or the other. We are excited to get back and play these guys. Didn't like the outcome of the last game, so it's good to try to get that bad taste out of your mouth as quickly as possible. So excited to go against them again. Know they're a great team, and we're up for the challenge.
It looked like at least a few key plays, your cornerbacks were definitely playing a little softer. Was that a result of the DPIs? Was that part of maybe you're trying to stay away from that a little bit?
No, that's not a result of that. With the corners playing off there, that's not exactly what we want there. From where we teach these guys, I want them to be competitive, want them to be aggressive in everything that we do, and not let penalties, stop our guys from being aggressive. We just have to play smarter with the penalties. It's not from a lack of aggression. We want our guys to always compete and be aggressive.
Technique-wise, when you're emphasizing avoid the DPI, generally what are you telling them?
At the end of the day, when you're trying to avoid a DPI, it's about playing smarter at the top of the route. You just can't pull guys' jerseys. That's the only thing where we get in trouble, where we get at the top of the route and you're pulling guys and restricting them, that's where you're going to get the penalty. So we just have to play cleaner, win at the line of scrimmage, be in a position where we're on top of the route, and we don't put ourselves in bad positions, then we can eliminate the DPIs.
Did they surprise you by not going very often? I think there were only 2 deep balls in that whole game. It seemed like you guys were anticipating a little bit more than that.
Yeah, we anticipated them throwing deep for sure because they had the highest percentage of deep balls going into that game. The Bears had the highest percentage of deep balls in the NFL, so we assumed they would go deep, and they didn't.
How big of a step was that for Huffanga to play all 70 snaps, and what was your evaluation of how he did?
Yeah, his first start, I thought Huff did good. First start, getting that extensive amount of time in there, I thought he communicated really well. He flew around, made some plays for us, and Huff is just going to continue to get better and better. He's a great communicator, really smart player, and he plays the game with a passion and energy that's contagious to others.
Because the assumption that they would go deep more, did that, leave a little bit more underneath for them during that?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, if they may complete some underneath, they may, but we don't. All our philosophy is about eliminating the explosive, eliminate the big play, and make teams drive the field on you. Now, of course, we would have liked to get off the field on third down. Thought there were some situations there on third down we should have played tighter and better and got off the field, and we didn't. And that's where they continue to drive on us. We didn't execute on third down as well as we should have.
In your first game against the Cardinals, Murray didn't really try to run very much. I don't know if it's a function of stellar defense or just the way they were, calling it. They didn't have any like designed runs or even scramble. What went into that? A combination of both?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. We know what went into with his decision. Kyler is a guy who can pull the ball at any time. So if he wants to run, he'll run it. I thought our guys did a really good job, up front. Started with our defensive line. Last time we played these guys, our defensive line, with DJ and Eric, and those guys did a great job inside of owning the line of scrimmage, right? And, Kyler didn't run as much, but he's a guy who can run it anytime he wants to.
You guys did such a good job of containing him and Russell Wilson a few weeks ago. Why do you think you struggled containing Justin Fields just as a runner?
Yeah, he got out on us a couple times. We can be better in the pass rush up front, D-line, and got a little too loose in coverage a couple times where we can have eyes back on him, and he got out and, made some plays on us.
What's the difference? They obviously lost Max Williams and brought in Zach Ertz. What's the difference between those two guys, and have you seen their offense change a little bit with Ertz?
Yeah, Max was a really great player, man, really good blocker. Kind of goes unnoticed, but he was really, I felt like he was one of the keys to that offense. The way he blocks in the run game, he's really good there. Now getting Ertz, a guy who's more of a pass threat. Whether it's the RPO type game, he's not as much of a blocker, but he can be effective in the pass game.
Are you looking at Armstead mostly as a defensive tackle now? I know he's always moved in on pass downs, but is he mostly going to be a defensive tackle?
Yeah, Armstead has moved inside. He started last week, moved inside. That's still fluid. We'll see, what do we need for each particular week, see, what Eric can help us.
How can your newest defensive lineman help the team?
Say that again?
How can your newest defensive lineman, Omenahu, help the team?
Yeah, Charles, we're excited to have him. Excited to add, a guy with his talent. I think it's a great player to add to our room. Very long player, instinctive guy who can make plays for us. So Charles has been coming along, learning the scheme, picking up on everything pretty well. We'll see how much he advances, but really happy and excited to be able to add a player of his quality at this part of the season.
Is he an edge guy for you, or does he?
He's played on the edge. He's played inside. We'll see where he thrives best for us and where he fits the best for us, and wherever he can excel the most and showcase his talent, that's where we'll put him.
Is keeping Armstead inside somewhat a function of Kinlaw not being available?
Yeah, moving Armstead inside, the thing about him is he's done it before, and he's very good inside as well. And we know his dominance on the edge. Nobody really wants to run the ball to Eric's side when he's on the edge. And now putting him inside, I think Eric was able to make a lot more plays inside this past week, putting him inside, so he can be a productive playmaker for us inside. And, with Kinlaw, I think not having Kinlaw does attribute to that, putting Eric inside. But Eric has done fantastic. We did a good job last week, and he'll continue to get better the more reps he gets inside.
Can you help explain the challenge that defensive tackles in a wide nine scheme have when it is stretched out a little bit with the ends? I know one of the reasons you guys liked Kinlaw so much was because how big and strong he was in that situation. But what is the challenge for those guys behind him and for Armstead on the inside, given the wide nine?
Yeah, for the guys inside, it's all about penetrating. It's about our guys just playing as best we can, play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. So you want quick guys like DJ Jones who can penetrate, or you get longer guys like, Kinlaw, Eric, who can play inside, can stretch out and make plays, sideline to sideline.
How about their running game, DeMeco? What do you see? They have a couple of different running backs that they like. They also have Rondell Moore. But it seems like James Conner's their biggest scoring threat.
Yeah, the running game is really good. I think Connor comes to life more in the red zone when he's attacking. He's a physical runner. He can punch it in, running downhill. But you can see, Rondell Moore, they're trying to get the ball to him any way they can. And he's a dynamic playmaker on offense, on special teams. You can tell you want to get the ball in his hands, and we have to have awareness, heightened awareness for when he's in the game and wherever he's aligned on the field. We have to anticipate that the ball is going to him in some shape or fashion.
Coach, yesterday Fred mentioned that you told them it needs to mean something for them to play at Levi Stadium. In a defensive perspective, how important is it to get that home field advantage back?
I think it's everything for me. Playing at home, it has to mean something to us. We haven't won here in a long time, and we owe that to our fans to go out and play well and get a win here in Levi Stadium. And when we get that support from our fans, the fans are rocking on. When the defense is out there being loud, disrupting their offense, I think it's a special environment when you have that when you're at home. But it really needs to be we need to make it a home field advantage for us, especially on the defensive side. But we have to go out and we have to play well. We have to earn that home field advantage by showing our fans that we can play well at home. All right. Thank you, guys.
Audience got bigger. Losing streak must be over. What you guys got?
The last couple days.
Jeff's looked. Really, it's just been awesome to have Jeff back in terms of being able to see him at all. He's been working hard, and he's a big part of the energy that our team has. You can see it every game. He brings the juice. So that's been exciting. I think the guys are excited that he's able to be outside with us in a helmet and whatever. But you try not to get, especially with a guy that hasn't played since May, you try not to get ahead of yourself at all. So we're just every time we see him, making sure that he looks like the Jeff we know, and hoping there's no setbacks so we can get him on the field as soon as possible.
What elements does he bring to the run game?
I think you guys can see it early and often. He inflict, we call shoulder punch, but when a defender's trying to tackle him, you can see extra energy and juice that the rest of the offense feels. He's a running back that when you give him a carry, not only is he getting yards, but he's also breathing life into the offense and the defense and the special teams. So that's what's unique about him is his style and his energy and passion for the game. He's a guy that is undrafted and wears that on his sleeve. You know, he doesn't. It's really what's made him who he is that he's not comfortable at all. He's always trying to work and get better. He's come a long way from that 195-pound skinny kid in North Texas that had worked out back in whenever that was, 18 or, and that's a testament. That's a testament to him specifically and who he is as a person and a man.
Elijah Mitchell earned your trust so quickly? I mean, he gets a healthy workload.
He does. Generally, and this is pretty revolutionary, but good players, you know. No, what's interesting about him is you don't know that going into the season. You start in training camp and you're like, wow, there's some stuff in practice when he's not getting tackled. I remember talking to you guys about it over the summer, and you're like, man, there might be something there. And then getting in games, wow, he hit the right hole again. I think Trent Williams said something to us this week. There was a play, it was probably the third run of the game in the first quarter, inside zone to the right. And it wasn't blocked premierly, so he had to just get downhill, and he ran into Trent's back. And Trent was like, I haven't been hit that hard by a running back since Adrian Peterson. So there's some stuff to his game that the more he plays, the more you realize that he's a special young player, and there's a reason why he's having productivity that you'd have no way of knowing. Even grainy Louisiana Lafayette tape wouldn't tell you that.
So you don't really, manage tight ends. Like that's not, something that's typically done. But, George Kittle's averaging, when he's played the most snaps in the league and blocks more than some of the guys like Kelsey and Waller. Do you guys think there's, a risk in having to protect George from himself and just, letting him block and play as much as he does given his injury history?
Well, I think there's two different conversations. When someone is dealing with an ailment, that's something that over history, we've done multiple times with George and limiting his snaps and whatever. But just as far as a healthy player trying to protect him from himself, that'd be a tough, almost impossible task because you'd be picking arbitrary plays and say, hey, okay, we're not going to use you here because you might get hurt. I mean, that's every play for a player. So we make sure, it's a testament to George Kittle and how in shape he is really that we're able to use him. But it's kind of a hard thing to kind of say, hey, this really good player that's really good with the ball in his hands that our team depends on, we're not going to give him the ball. Now, if defenses say, hey, we're not going to let you throw to him, that's a different story. And that happens from game to game. But in terms of using him, when a guy's healthy, it's football, so you play your players. You wouldn't, he plays a physical type game, and he will continue to learn how to keep himself as harm's way as best he can. But we're not. It's like an offensive lineman. Should we tell Trent to take half the game out? So it's a tough deal. We've never really approached it that way, and I don't really see players being substituted for reasons other than you might not be good on this play, or you're tired and you can't perform at the best of your ability.
How's he look this week?
It's been cool to have him back. He brings such energy and juice. Every time he's on the football field, his will, you feel like, okay, this guy is in premier form, best shape, whatever. But because he's so tough, you just don't really know what's going on until he gets inside and he talks to the trainers, position coach John Embry, talks to Kyle. So from my standpoint, it's been great to have him back, and he looks great. But in terms of, because of his toughness, I don't really know what that means or how far he is from being on the football field. So we're just preparing, I think Charlie and Ross Dwelly have put together some great games these last couple games. We're prepared to move forward that way, and hope to get Kittle's back as soon as we can, really.
Well, it's got such a high percentage of your receiving yards. It's the highest figure in the league, basically, of percentage for one receiver having the team's receiving yards. As Kittle gets back and then Aiyuk more involved last week, would you expect that number to come down as a per game average, and would that be more healthy for the offense?
Well, you're at your healthiest as an offense when you can equally distribute the ball, and I think all the players understand that as well, because when one person's getting the ball, if there's a threat of them getting the ball, there's more space for the other guy. So I think that's always the goal for us, but then at the same time, you're trying to win football games and get the ball into really good players' hands. It doesn't always happen that way. We've had years as an offense where with Julio Jones, I think in 15, he might have had 1,800 yards, but we were our best selves in Atlanta the next year when he had 1,500 yards. So that is the goal, but you're never saying, hey, we're getting the guy the ball too much as wow, well, if he can do this, if he can get an 83-yarder on 3rd and 19, what if we threw screens to other people? How much space would he have then? So it does play a part. We're in an ideal world, we'll distribute the ball as best we can everywhere, but beggars can't be choosers. We're just trying to move the ball, score points, and win games.
3 and 4, obviously you need all the wins you can get, and you need them however you can get them. And the more you give Deebo the ball, the more likely you are to win. But at the same time, it's a long season, and he has a calf injury. So is it hard to find the balance of what is the right workload for your best player on offense, or Deebo in particular?
Well, with injuries, it's a little easier because you're managing their rep count when they're not fully able to go. They can't play as much. I don't think Deebo played as many snaps as Brandon Aiyuk, which is the first time this season. So that for sure. In terms of how many targets and touches he gets, we put plays together, and if the defense presents itself where he's open or he does an unbelievable job of separating and wills himself to, that is, we didn't go into the game thinking that, I don't even know what his rep count was, but it'd probably work out to be, a fifth of his plays he had a reception. We didn't go thinking that way. But there's a couple coverages that Jimmy trusted him, kind of threw him open. He stepped back to the ball, and you're like, wow. So in terms of injuries, it is easier. But you let the game play out. You try your best to get everyone involved. But when the lights are on and it's game time, you're just trying to win a game. And our whole team supports and understands that.
You and Kyle talk about Brent, you having good weeks of practice.
Hmm?
Even his teammates are saying it. What does that mean to you, like generally, or even specifically? What is a good week of practice for Brandon Aiyuk?
That's an interesting question for a receiver in particular because it's layered. It's not, okay, yeah, he caught 10 balls today. Well, your job is to catch balls. It's how you go about everything. It's how, and it takes a while for rookies to really understand, okay, why are we irritated at this play that I just caught a 6-yard hitch? I was open. We're looking through the lens of like, okay, how's this going to look against their starting corner? What is the standard with which how you do things? And how successful is that going to be over time? So you're looking at concretely how they're doing things, the approach, the urgency, if they're getting, so really adhering to the timing of plays and separating and being where you're supposed to be and doing everything we emphasize, that's a good practice. You may not get any catches in that. You may just run, but in that process, the quarterback is watching the tape intently and saying, wow, I can rely on this guy. So for Brandon, it's been really, especially these last couple weeks, he's looked like in the player that we envisioned when we drafted him in terms of he's got a lot of physical tools, but he also has a mindset, and he's a young guy that's finally starting to understand what it means to be a pro and to approach every practice like, hey, I'm determining the game on Wednesday. I'm winning the game on Thursday. That's been the difference, and I think it's that gray because it's that obvious to the whole offense. That's why you keep hearing it from every facet, whether it's a player, coach, or whatever. You can feel that. It's hard to say exactly what it is. It's the entirety. It's the sum of the parts and just how he goes about his day-to-day practice, every assignment, blocking, route, catch, all of it.
Elijah, it seems that the past 2 weeks especially, he's really fitting through and hitting those small creases on the outside. Is that a matter of him, as a rookie, getting a step faster, a step more confident as he's kind of gotten used to the NFL?
For sure. There's plays. That's what was really funny about, or interesting about him early in the season was I think his second carry was a 38-yard touchdown. Like, so you saw it, but then you see it more on a play-in, play-out basis where there's certain times where in the course of at the beginning of the season, he was a hair indecisive. He sees it, you coach him on it, and then you see each and every play, okay, incrementally, we're getting more efficient and better. You're seeing more explosive runs, but also more yards per carry because each week he's getting a little bit more decisive, which is a real thing. The NFL game is a lot faster. The holes are smaller. And I know there's a lot of plays that one of the reasons he's having success is because he looks at his tape and says, wow, I've left a lot of yards out there. That's the way he looks at it. And with that approach, you can continue to get better and be more productive in tight areas and whatnot.
Thank you, Coach.
That's it?
George here for you guys. George.
Howdy. Wonderful. I love football. Playing football is really fun, and I've missed all of my friends.
Jimmy said that you had fresh legs. Do you feel that?
Just letting you guys know he lied to you. He said that before I'd practiced. He meets with you guys before practice. He has not seen me run once. He has no idea.
Fresh legs?
Oh, no, I'm doing all right. He just had no idea what he was talking about.
What was
Jimmy.
today like, you know, the long Thursday practice? Did you do the whole thing? And
Yep.
how do you feel right now?
I feel good. Doing everything I can to be prepared for Sunday. You know, not practicing since Green Bay week. Definitely a little bit of rust out there, but you know, just got to get back out there, and it's just riding a bike, I guess. Just go out there and catch the ball, run some routes, hit some people. Football.
You seem to thrive so much on the action, on the practice, on the games, to be out that length of time. Does it affect your mood at all, or do you transfer that into rehab?
Be the leader I'm supposed to be the leader I want to be happy, give the guys energy, talk them up, help them out when I need to. I mean, it's different when you're not on the field with them because you're missing a lot of time, whether it's practices or games. But whether it's, you know, meetings, just being around the building, just try to be the same guy, you know, as much as I can be. But like I said, it's difficult when you're not out there. And yeah, I mean, I guess not playing for a while, you can definitely be a little bit moody. But I try to not be as moody as Joe Staley and just, you know, have a smile on my face as much as possible.
George, next two games, obviously big ones in the division, the Cardinals and Rams. How do you view those games in terms of how it could shape the rest of the season? How important is it for you to be back for those games?
Well, I mean, the longer you get into the season, especially if you're winning games, the more important each game gets. You know, especially the division ones. I mean, we're going to go against back-to-back against 7-1 teams, and just, you know, kind of sets the stage for us. We're either going to, you know, come out of those games with a winning record or, you know, in the hole. And so it definitely shapes the whole season from playoff perspective. And, you know, you try to look at it just one game at a time. So, you know, we're focused on the Cardinals. But, yeah, I mean, you definitely see the whole schedule and the other games. And these are going to be very tough, grimy, gritty games. And, you know, we're going to do everything we can to prepare and win those games. And I'm confident. I feel like the offense is starting to click a little bit. You know, last week was awesome to watch. You know, guys making plays, a lot less of the, you know, mistakes that had been hindering us as an offense. And as always, I think our defense was playing at a high level. So, you know, just got to keep playing team football, and I think we're going to do just fine.
George, while you're out, Charlie Warner and Ross Gurley had their moments, especially last game in the blocking aspect. What does that do now that with you coming back and putting Charlie on the other side? Does that make you guys less predictable in terms of which way you're going to run?
I can't answer that. I feel like that's giving away game plan stuff, man. I mean, I will say I think Ross and Charlie, you know, whether I'm, you know, in or not, I think they always do a fantastic job. They've gotten so much better. They always take steps in the right direction. And I honestly think that all falls on my tight end coach. You know, Embry does such a great job. He's on us every single day about all the little things, meeting early practice stuff. He just always expects he has a very high expectation for everybody that comes in that room, whether you're a practice squad player, whether you're new to the team that day, or whether you're in your fifth year with him like I am. He always holds us all to the same standard and to a high standard. So to be able to play with a guy like that definitely helps all of us. And I know when Charlie and Ross get more coaching, because, you know, I wasn't in, I think that really helped them out. And so they were able to take big steps forward. I mean, Charlie made multiple plays last week that were awesome. And at the end of the day, most of it was just effort, whether there wasn't a lot of talent. It's just he's out there trying his best with a little bit of technique that he's learned and open up some big running lanes for Elijah.
With these three significant injuries in the last two seasons, for that you went through, you know, tons of injuries. So there's a conversation like he's so physical, he has to do so much blocking, he runs over everybody. You know, I don't know, is there anything you can do? Obviously, I think no one doubts the way you prepare yourself, etc. Is there anything you can do to try to protect yourself more without taking away from some of the things that make you special?
Well, let's see. Two of my injuries were taking a helmet to the kneecap, and I had a broken foot, and then I had a lower body injury this time, and not a single one of those things was from being overly physical or attacking people or truck sticking people or the run game. So I don't really know how to answer that. I'm just going to try to keep being keep being me. And I mean, I feel like I do a lot of stuff in the off season, in season. You know, all I care about is, you know, football and making myself available. And, you know, sometimes, you know, football's a violent game and it's very unforgiving and stuff happens and you just got to kind of deal with it and move on to the next play. And luckily I get a chance this weekend to go back out there and play football.
Any extra juice you get from after missing a couple games? I mean, you've done this before where you come back after missing some time. Do you feel that little extra kick?
I'll have to tell you that on Monday or on Sunday after the game, but most likely yes. You know, I miss football. like I said, I haven't hit anybody in a long time. I'm very excited to be out there being able to do that again.
As far as Charlie, what differences do you see Charlie blocking these last couple of games versus Charlie as a rookie last year? Where has he made his big improvements?
Confidence. And that's really it. His technique's obviously gotten better, but just confident in like the play calling, knowing what he has to do. Just being able to say, hey, if he's talking to McGlinchey, hey, we're going to combo this guy to that guy. Like just not second guessing himself, and then he's not thinking as much, and then he's just out there playing football, which makes it a lot easier in the run game. You don't have to think about anything. You just go out there 100 miles an hour and do everything you can to block the guy in front of you.
You watched Jimmy Garoppolo battle back over the last couple games, well, kind of from afar. What have you seen from him being in that kind of observation point?
Consistency, really. I mean, always is the same guy every single day. Ups, downs. I mean, I know he didn't play he didn't play his best game versus Indianapolis, but he came back following Monday, watched the film, came back on Wednesday and had a great practice on Wednesday, throwing the ball great last Thursday. I think we've had a couple of good days of practice, this week. He's just always consistent, and that's what you love about Jimmy. He's always the same exact guy, same leader every single day, talks the same way, has the same message. He's got a lot of fire with him, and I love playing with that. And he's definitely been very encouraging these last couple of weeks, and just getting the boys rolling in practice and stuff. And it's just fun to finally see that executed. And I love it when my running back rushes for multiple touchdowns in a game. I mean, it makes me feel like he's a very mobile quarterback.
What's the difference between Aiyuk in practice now as opposed to the beginning of the season?
Oh wow, I don't know. I think Aiyuk. Let me see. I just think the difficult thing for young guys is just realizing that every single practice, whether it's training camp or in season, it matters. Like your body's going to feel like absolute crap, but you still have to take advantage of those practices, whether it's mental reps, whether it's the physical reps, and just learning the right way to do it. Our offense is, obviously, if you run the route like this, good things are going to happen, and just being able to pick up on that, run them the exact way you're supposed to run them, at the right speed, at the right angle, at the right depth, and then reacting on top of that. And that's what you need to be able to practice to be able to figure those things out and to be able to get better. And I think it just takes young guys a while to realize that. And I think Aiyuk's done a great job. And I'm not saying that was Aiyuk. I just think young guys in general. But I think Aiyuk has done a better job of being deliberate every single rep that he gets. Whether it's a run play he's on the backside of, crossing the field to get the backside safety, or it's a pass play that's coming to him to make sure he gets his depth. That's one thing that we all try to get better at every single day. But young guys, I think you just need to emphasize it a little bit more.
You mentioned the backside safety, I think.
You're good.
I apologize greatly.
You just got Cheese angry, man.
Yeah,
That's tough. Don't want to be on that side, man.
No respect.
Not a nice line.
Wow. Now you're stalling. This is crazy.
Aiyuk, I believe it was a backside safety, but forgive
Yeah,
me if I was wrong.
it was.
On the long Mitchell run at the end, and he celebrated, he pumped his fist. Do you like to see that out of a wide receiver, celebrating a block?
If our wide receivers are blocking downfield and celebrating, we're doing something right. That was one thing I think was tough last year because we just had so many guys in and out of the building at all of our positions. Our downfield blocking wasn't what it needed to be for us to be really successful in the run game. And that's one thing that I think we were missing. Like 2019, Emmanuel Sanders was one of those guys that kind of set the tone for that. He really took pride in his run blocking, and that makes other guys take pride in their run blocking. And then I think we're starting to figure that out as a wide receiver unit again, is how important that is to, hey, I have to be on his outside shoulder on this play, or, hey, I need to bust my ass to get across the field to get on his inside shoulder. So that's going to make it a 10-yard run into a 30-yard run. And I think when you make an emphasis of that and guys make it important to them and then they celebrate it, you're going to win football games when everybody cares about every single play. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Doing good. How you doing?
You were saying after the game that your favorite play was a block, and I think we've seen video of it now. Just kind of looking back on that, how much pride do you take in that, and how far have you come along in that aspect?
I think the whole receiver room as a whole is kind of taking that, just not letting any of our guys make plays on our backs or any of the ball carriers really. So I think pretty much the whole room. But that play was just like a play where the game was sealed. The game was pretty much won right there. So that's where the excitement was from.
Jimmy said in a radio interview yesterday that sometimes with young guys, he was talking about you, there can be a tendency to let your foot off the gas a little, particularly if you have a good rookie season. Was some of that going on, I guess, earlier this season of, I don't know, not maintaining that intensity, and it seems like maybe you rediscovered it?
I mean, you could say that. I think it's more of just a thing of just like stacking, not taking it personal. Every rep, every play, every day of practice type of thing. I feel like it's kind of hard to say. For me, saying let off the gas, but you can kind of say that, but it's kind of a thing where you don't really keep track of it. It kind of just gets away. But yeah, like I said, taking advantage of every single play, starting fresh. One play's gone, the next one comes, and treating every single play like the first play.
Brandon, everyone keeps talking about how the past few weeks you've had incredible weeks at practice, and obviously we've seen you improve from the beginning of the season. What do you think has changed, and how did you feel you had to go like a restart button maybe? So.
A little bit, yeah. Kind of like after the bye week, just talking with coaches, sitting and assessing where we were at. I kind of just took that as if after the bye week, that was the start of the season. That was week 1, and then kind of just taking that approach every single week. So it's like this week I came into the week like this is the first week of the season. It's the first week of practice. Taking that approach, so it's kind of just like you're just reasserting yourself every single week, and just showing what you want to do on Sunday throughout the week.
Is there a coach that influenced you at all throughout this process?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Is there a player or a coach that influenced you more than another through the process?
Definitely a lot of players. Kyle Juice, he's my locker mate, so I talk to him a lot. But also me and Kyle had some words. We had some words, and so definitely Kyle too. Yeah.
Brandon, did you meet Henry Ruggs at all during the draft process and as one of the first-round wide receivers? And has the tragedy he's been involved in, is that something you guys have talked about in terms of making good decisions and that kind of thing?
Well, first, prayers out to everybody in that. We haven't talked about it. Really, like we haven't talked about like that situation, but it's kind of just on the part of decision making. I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on the situation, but yeah.
2 division games coming up at home. You guys have yet to win a game at home. Is there a little bit extra juice this week?
Definitely. A whole bunch of juice at practice. You can feel it, but we're just in the mindset of just getting this thing rolling, despite whatever the streak is for at home. Regardless if it was away game, home game, we were in that mindset of getting this thing rolling. So we kind of feel that more than what people are talking about the home game streak. But we've definitely heard about that. So we know about that, but it's just about stacking them.
You said Kyle had some words. Can you speak maybe in general terms what some of those words might have been?
Some words.
Was that recently?
That was just like I said, before the bye week, assessing where we were at, and yeah.
Can his tone be harsh? Like, is it hard not to take it personally when he's coaching you hard?
Oh no, not at all. I know. I think for me, it was kind of just like people tell him, like people like they joke around about it all the time, saying that I have trust issues or whatnot. But so when I kind of just like getting over the fact that everybody in this building wants the best for you, they're trying to help you out whenever they're talking to you and telling you stuff. And every time somebody's told me gave me some good information, and I've used that information, we've got out what we wanted from it. So kind of just trusting everybody, trusting them, trusting what they're saying, believing what they're saying, and putting it and going out on the field and doing it.
You had trust issues?
Had. You could say that in life, period, general.
Brandon, when you talk about the energy, how much of it is because George Kittle is now back at practice?
Oh yeah, George is like even the energy in the locker room with him, even when he wasn't at practice, just having George around, it's just always good spirits, high energy, and fun. So we're glad to have him back this week, and it's a good feeling, even with all the tight ends, but it's a great feeling when you get in the huddle and George is screaming and yelling.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.